Well, this morning marks the official day of the annual Juneteenth Walk of Freedom in Fort Worth. Our Blessing Uchukwu joins us live at the event. Blessing, good morning.
Good morning, Alex and Charles. Happy Juneteenth. So we are about an hour, less than an hour before the press conference begins here in Fort Worth. We're here, it's what you would call Media Row, and just a few hours for when the walk begins at 9 o'clock this morning officially. Now, I know a lot of people may have been heartbroken once the cat was out of the bag. When I got with Dion Sims about 2 weeks ago, still kind of up in the air if Miss Opal Lee would make it. As we've been keeping up, she was hospitalized in Ohio this month, and when I got with her last month in May ahead of her awards, ahead of the AMC Awards, the American Academy of Country Music Awards, she also had a fall. And so I know a lot of people are heartbroken, but Alex, just like you said yesterday, she is 98 years young and will be turning 99 later on this year. So her family, Dion and the rest of the crew, they're making sure she is safe and sound and healthy, because next year it's the big 100. She turns 100 next year, so I'm sure they're trying to keep her as healthy and safe for the big event that's going to be in DC, when she will walk with her crew with Dion in DC. So we'll give you the latest as more people start to trickle in. It's going to be really interesting now that the cat's out of the bag, that Miss Opal Lee won't be here, if the turnout would be impacted. I talked to Dion a little bit about that back in May, and she was saying that a lot of people need to realize that it's great, yes, we're here to honor and celebrate Juneteenth and Miss Opal Lee, but people should not just be coming to celebrate this holiday just because of Miss Opal Lee. It's much bigger than that. It's much bigger than Texas. It's our national holiday. Alex and Charles.
And Blessing, is there any change to the route? Well, this morning is the official day of the annual Juneteenth Walk of Freedom in Fort Worth. Our Blessing Uchukwu joins us with a live look at the event. Blessing, good morning.
Good morning, Charles and Alex, and happy Juneteenth. Now, we are just a few short hours away from the start of this walk, and let's go into a little bit about the history of the importance of this day and this walk. Now, Miss Opal Lee, famously known as the grandmother of Juneteenth, they started this walk back in 2020 in Fort Worth, marching on Juneteenth, to make sure that everyone remembers the importance of this day. For people who may not know, she likes to famously say that 4th of July, free the land, but Juneteenth, free the people. Now, Juneteenth is the history behind it, was when the slaves here in Texas, after the Emancipation Proclamation, the slaves have been free all across the South, but the slaves in Texas did not know until people came on a horse to let them know you are free, and that's why it's Freedom Day, Celebration Day. And this is a pretty big day for some volunteers here that are joining with me. I'm joined here with Patrice McCowan and a special birthday girl, Legacy McCowan. She is the big 5, y'all, and get this, Patrice was telling me that Legacy was actually scheduled to be born on the 4th of July, but she was induced and was born on Juneteenth, and this is their first time volunteering on Juneteenth. Talk to me a little bit about why it was so important for you to wake up at 5:30 in the morning and make your way down here. Talk to us a little bit about that.
So it's just an important day today. I mean, like you said, the history of just the slaves being freed here in Texas. I'm a native myself, so my daughter's born on Juneteenth. Like you said, she was due on the 4th of July, but our ancestors came through and swiped her, and she was born today on Juneteenth. And it's just really important for her to know the history of this day, the importance of her birthday, but also for Juneteenth.
Mm-hmm. I know it's your big day today, but how are you feeling for the big 5 and for this big day?
Fine.
You're feeling fine, and you know about the importance of it. You're 5 years at this of celebrating on Juneteenth, right? Talk to me a little bit about why this is also not just your big day for you for your birthday, but this amazing day for the nation.
What do you like about today?
You know, it's okay, Legacy. I mean, with a name like Legacy, she has a lot of talking ahead. So we'll bring you more later on. The walk is officially going to start at 9 o'clock this morning. So stay tuned. Back to y'all.
All right, Blessing, thank you very much. And we do have more news and weather coming right up. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Well, this morning is the official day of the annual Juneteenth Walk of Freedom in Fort Worth, and our Blessing Iwachuku joins us with a look at the event in the heart of it all. Blessing.
That's right, Charles. We are right here in the thick of it, and just like the song says, this is how we do it. Now, I'm right here in between the people who are registered and those who are trying to get registered. The walk actually starts down here. We got a pretty good crowd. It officially starts at 9 o'clock this morning, and it's about to wrap up around 10 over there. And so a lot of the people we've spoken to are some first timers. We spoke to some members of Opal Lee's, Miss Opal Lee's church, and just a little bit about the history for those who may not know. Now, this walk started back in 2020 in Fort Worth. Every year on this day, thousands will join Miss Opal Lee, her granddaughter Dion Sims, to march for freedom. And so last year it was in Dallas. This year it's back in Fort Worth, but in a different part of Fort Worth. And we're joined here with a first-time attendee, Rachel Sparger. Come on down. This is her first time here. And now, Rachel, she actually got a personal invitation from the grandmother of Juneteenth herself. Talk to me a little bit about your first encounter with Miss Opal Lee.
So it was about maybe 2 months ago. I was at the Botanical Gardens just enjoying the day, and I saw Miss Opal Lee there, and I just had to go up and shake her hand because she's just such an inspiration, right? And so when I shook her hand, I just said, you know, you're such an inspiration. And then she said, well, if you could just do me a favor and you could walk on Juneteenth. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to walk on Juneteenth because Miss Opal Lee personally asked me to do that. So I have to, right?
Yeah, it's really, and this is her first time, like I said, and you said you're going to do the whole 2.5 miles. Why is this important for you?
Well, I just think I admire her perseverance, right? And so for someone who persevered like that, to see Juneteenth become a holiday, I think I could support that, and I can walk the 2.5 miles. I mean, why not, right? And it's just important to, just for freedom, right? Unless we're all free, no one is free. So I just really support that, and that's why I'm here.
All right, thank you so much, Rachel. We are celebrating freedom here all day long, all morning long. For that, I'll send it back to you, Charles and Alex.
All right, things getting started. Blessed, thank you very much. We do have to take a quick break. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Well, this morning is the official day of the annual Juneteenth Walk of Freedom in Fort Worth. Our Blessing Iwachuku joins us with a look at the event. Blessing, good morning.
We've got a good crowd of people out here in Fort Worth. A lot of first-timers showed up for Juneteenth, despite the grandmother of Juneteenth not being here to lead the walk. Now, a little bit about the history of this day, of the history here in North Texas. Miss Opal Lee, since 2020, has been doing this walk in Fort Worth. Last year, Dallas got a little taste of it. This year, it's in a new part of Fort Worth. Now, a little bit about the history of this holiday for people who may not have known about Juneteenth. Now, when the Emancipation Proclamation was written, it was official. That released the slaves all across the South, all across the country. But the slaves in Texas did not know about it until a few years later, and that's why we celebrate Juneteenth. It's Freedom Day, and that's why Miss Opal Lee says that. Well, the 4th of July, we celebrate the freedom of the land, celebrating America. But Juneteenth is especially important because we're celebrating the freedom for all people, especially for those in the Black community. Now, there were a lot of hurdles to getting to this day. There were some financial hurdles, and of course, for some health hurdles for Miss Opal Lee. Now, I spoke with a first-time volunteer who talked to us a little bit about why this day is so important to her, why it's so pivotal.
You know, just because papers were signed for slaves to be free doesn't mean that everybody was free. There were still people here in Texas that were enslaved. There were still people here that, you know, that wasn't getting the rights that they deserved. So this holiday, this national holiday, is important for everybody to know about, so they can spread the word, so that they know, just because some people were free, not everybody was free.
And for her, not only is this such an important day celebrating the freedom for all people, but it's also her 5-year-old daughter, Legacy's birthday. So it's even much bigger for her. So for that, I'll send it back to you. Reporting from Fort Worth, Blessing Iwuchukwu, Spectrum News.
Looks like it's going to be a great event. Blessing, thank you.
Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us here on Spectrum News 1. I'm Lisette Hernandez. In 2021, Juneteenth officially became a holiday, thanks in part to Miss Opal Lee, the grandmother of Juneteenth. And today over in Fort Worth was her annual Walk for Freedom, and that is where we find our Blessing Iwuchukwu, who's there for today's festivities. Hey, Blessing.
It's a celebration. As you can hear, people are still here celebrating the importance of this. I'm going to step out of the shot so Oscar can give you a look. These are some of the people who came and did their 2.5 in honor of this day, in honor of Juneteenth, in honor of Miss Opal Lee, who couldn't be here. We're going to take a look at some of the video from earlier of all the several dozens that came here. I spoke to a lot of first timers who didn't know much about this until Miss Opal Lee. I spoke to someone who met Miss Opal Lee just a few months ago, and she gave her the personal invitation to come out here and celebrate. Now, I spoke to Miss Dion Sims, Miss Opal Lee's granddaughter, on what it was like to still be here. She'll still have this event despite having her granddeer by her side like last year and years prior. Take a listen.
My grandmother said I can do it, I got it, and so that's what we're gonna do. She's at home, they're watching it on TV. They told me they would, and so, but I did get the call this morning because my dad was gonna have her in the truck so the folks she could be a part, but he called me and said not today. So that's what we're going with.
Now, as I reported earlier in our story yesterday, actually, this event is pretty unique. It's been going on for years now, since 2020 for Miss Opal Lee in Fort Worth. But what made this event unique this year? Well, Miss Opal Lee is not here like she has been in years past. Some of the hurdles of trying to get sponsors to help finance this event, as we spoke with Dion yesterday and weeks prior about getting this funded from back in May till now, and she was telling me that they're still not fully funded. Despite the celebration that's going on, they're still looking for people who could help them get over their goal to make sure that everything runs smoothly. And Miss Opal, just like you heard her say, she's at home cheering them on, and she's going to be turning 99 later on this year. And get this, for next year when she turns 100, the goal is to have Miss Opal Lee's Walk of Freedom in all the 50 states, and it's going to be in DC, where hopefully she will be out there pounding the pavement. Reporting in Fort Worth, Blessing Iwuchukwu, Spectrum News. Back to you.
All right, those celebrations look a lot of fun. Blessing, thank you so much.